Just take any of these deals, you can't do anything controversial.
And they decide what's controversial.
They make your career seem like it wasn't as impactful as it was, all because you stood on a different side of what the yellow brick road that they laid out. If I can't use my voice, so what are we doing here?
Right.
And them the people that be trying to take advantage of you. If you can't help me grow, build in my community, for my career, you shouldn't be representing me. Actually nowhere near me. You shouldn't be welcome in my house. Nobody even giving no pushback for it. I'm like, yo, you giving me $12 million?
Right.
Like, I mean, I'll kill it before I get $12 million.
So I'm just really here to just to fill him out. I know he got some good energy that he about to share.
Barry Sam, I'm here for the High Level Save Yourself tour.
From a wonderful man named 19 Keys. And I'm here because Keys is the best. Why wouldn't you be here?
So y'all ready? Y'all ready for Keys?
Peace to the gods. Peace to the gods. Do we feel like we out of time? Or do we feel like this is our time? Do we feel real or do we feel fake? Do we feel low level or do we feel high level? Do we feel like slaves or do we feel like warriors? Do we feel owned or do we feel like owners? Do we feel controlled or do we feel like controllers? It's takeover time. So I need us to stand up on our feet and I need us to make some noise for my good brother, Jaylen Brown.
Just be still and then let the things just flow in your brain. Like you'll start to just think about your day or think about like what you want to do or what you want to manifest. That's God speaking to you, is clarity. When you get still.
Anything that's not radical, to me in this day and age, is not good. How do we have high-level conversations with each other? We go to the hood, they don't want to have those conversations because that part of their brain is not activated. They are stuck in survival. We're focused on growth. We're focused on flourishing. We're focused on regenerative practices.
I'm Jay Solar from Detroit. Due to following 19 Keys, I got almost $1 million in assets free and clear.
Come on, talk to the God, man.
Nothing controls you. Not the losses, not the failures, not the ups, not the downs. There's no anxiety. There's no depression. There's no victims. It's just me in control of reality. This is the mindset of a winner. They only imagine themselves winning, so therefore they only win.
Snap your W-2 and file your taxes 100% free. Plus, get your biggest refund. File free.
Peace family, it's 19 Keys. Thank you for watching High Level Conversations. We want to continue to be the best show in the world, so we need your support for that. So if you enjoyed this conversation, if you enjoy the value of this channel and the rest of these high-level conversations, please help spread the word. If you haven't already, please leave a 5-star review. And the best reviews, we want to screenshot and post on the high-level conversation page. And you will win one of many gifts that we have. We also need you to like and we need you to comment so we can be at the top of the algorithm. We're building out the platform that's going to take the culture. What's happening with you, God? What's happening, God? Today, this all about energy. It's takeover time. It's takeover time. Do we feel like we're out of time? Or do we feel like this is our time? That's what I want to hear. Do we feel real or do we feel fake? I hear that. Do we feel low level or do we feel high level? Do we feel like slaves or do we feel like warriors? Do we feel owned or do we feel like owners? Do we feel controlled or do we feel like controllers? I think y'all on the right type of time today. I want y'all to take a moment and I want y'all to be in this moment. In the world right now, we have a wealth of information, but a poverty of attention. There's so much information that's going on, we can't pay attention to nothing. Every single day is like a month. Every month is like a year. Time has collapsed upon himself. It might be a plane crash. Donald Trump did some more wild shit. Elon Musk did some more wild shit. Kanye West did some wild shit. It's like, God damn, every day? But the reason they do that is because they're trying to keep you in a low-level state where you're just reacting to things. Low stimulus, gossip, constant gossip, and commenting on things that have nothing to do with your ascension. So that means that they know exactly what you're doing with your time. They ain't got to worry about you. They can give you the greatest tools on the planet Earth. They ain't got to worry about you. They know today you're talking about what Kanye did. You're not talking about quantum computing. You're not talking about utilizing these AIs to create dossiers and self-customization to enhance and optimize your human abilities. They know that the world is stuck in a low. It came to me about the neocortex. The neocortex is what allows us to have higher reasoning. It's what allows us to have high-level conversations and philosophies in the first place. It's what allowed human beings to actually to create systems and civilizations. When we have these type of conversations, that neocortex is being activated. Then I related that to the idea of Neo. In the movie, what he had was a series of high-level conversations that kept him activated so that he was not stuck in this low-level awareness. So he understood what was going on around him, and he had awareness and control over the machines, over the agents, over himself. It gave him the ultimate power. And throughout the book, it tells you how to consistently activate that Neo. You check yourself like, damn, I'm in a low-level state. I've been doom scrolling all day, and this Pakistani lady is taking over my feed. How can that capture you? Because we've been turned into docile little beings. They're ruling governments with memes. They know that people don't have enough attention. And when you cannot focus, it decreases your productivity. Well, if your productivity is low, then your human capital is not worth as much. So they justify replacing you with a machine. And we go on social media and we laugh. And as long as we're laughing, we're giving consent. See, they don't need to use weapons. The kings don't need to wear crowns. They own the networks. And we believe that we can beat them in their world. But you can't do that unless you're activated first. Morpheus, he talked to Neo. That was his high-level conversation. He gave him the option, red or blue. He chose to go deeper into the rabbit hole because radical means to get to the root. So when somebody say, Keys, you radical, you mean I'm just getting to the root of things? Shouldn't we all? Anything that's not radical, to me in this day and age, is not good. So the goal is also, how do we have high-level conversations with each other? How do we bring up ideas about philosophies and what we think when our family members don't want to talk about that shit? We go to the hood, they don't want to have those conversations because that part of their brain is not activated. They are stuck in survival. The neocortex is about evolution. It's about revolution. Where do we take things next? When you're thriving, you're thinking about how am I evolve? How am I going to grow? You have power. But then not only that, the book gives you a breakdown of how to speak, how to project yourself, how to just have off-cuff conversations at any time to where you consistently activate it. But if you're not utilizing that muscle, it's much harder. And what happens is we start to adapt and assimilate into these circles and into these crowds because we want to get along. Our brain said, man, just survive. Don't be trying to stand out. If that's what they want to talk about, then talk about it. You got real thoughts, man, cut them real thoughts. Say what the crowd wants you to say. And the leaders have an unconscious mastery over the control of crowds. They know how to sway you based on emotions. But I thought that this part of the conversation was so important because how do you know when you're being controlled? And this is the most important thing today because their mechanisms of control are so efficient. How many of you all have argued with a bot today?
Every month, this Airbnb pays me in semi-passive income. Now, here's the thing. I don't own it, and I don't pay.
You wouldn't know. They good. I can go program a bot right now and tell it to be aggressive and tell it to argue all of my points and have a whole entire army. And you getting swatted, real people, real life. Then I can create a bot that goes against you. Every time you say something, the bots is coming and swarm you. Say, forget this lying fake ass nigga. And then you getting mad arguing with the bot. So now if I can watch that engagement, we know where his time is going. We got him under control. Don't even worry about it. I can run a psyop on you very easy. So that means that if we don't have knowledge of it and we're not aware, then we also can't use the counter tools to attack, to defend ourselves as well. So Twitter is created to create consistent engagement, farming. They create meme coin tokens. Why? Because it is an attention economy. They know that back in the day, white folks was very illiterate in the 1920s and 10s. Black people were super literate. More of us can very high. So how did they get the white people to go against the blacks that had their own? They will put it in these propaganda style cartoons. They about to take over the world. Because they knew that they needed something that was low level enough to pull on their emotions, right? Today it's the same thing in the way Elon Musk used memes. It's the same way Kanye West used memes, right? They know how to control your attention in a way to where they will use the AI to do it. They ain't even got to do it. The AI responds for them. This is a different type of time that we living in. When you study the Doge, what is the Doge? Anybody know here? Nobody knows what the Doge is. Department of Government Efficiency, that's what they call it. Somebody look in their phone, ChatGPT, and look up the original Doge of Venice in 626. D-O-G-E. See, they play us because they know how to resurrect their ancestral blueprints to take control. So if you go look at it, anybody pull it up? I want y'all to be used to using your mind and thinking and not thinking that you need an answer. You hear something, you research it, and you go deeper and deeper and deeper until you have an understanding. Because if you're not activating like that, then you're not living, you're not alive. The Doge started during the time it was the longest lasting oligarchy rule in history. It lasted 1,100 years. This is not nothing new. They run these plays. And it was essentially an elected figure by the elites that didn't want to go through bureaucracy, so they would elect somebody else to get these things done. When you see Elon Musk, he may make it look like a meme, but he was running the play the whole time. To buy Twitter, to set it up, so America can install a Doge during the time of the end of an empire, so he can get things done that they couldn't do trying to circumnavigate the Constitution. So it may seem like it's something funny. You may laugh about it the whole entire time. They're trying to have complete control over everything. Every single world that is out there, I say worlds, plural. We have social media. It has multiple dimensions. You got Snapchat, you got X, you got YouTube, right? Every one of these worlds are controlled by who? Who owns them? Now somebody look like me. So how can you beat them at their game in their world? The answer is you can't. The only reality and the only option you have today is to create your own, is to opt out. But when you opt out, the question becomes, where do we go next? So you're ciphering your capital from one system to create your own system. How many people in here got an app? We got a few people in here that have an application. How many people in here sell a product or a service? This is an economy right here, represents a particular GDP. How many people in here heard of Estonia? Estonia is known as being the most digital country in the world. They started early when they see where the digital revolution was going, right? You can go over there and create a business in like 10 minutes. All of your documents are digital. You can actually become a citizen of Estonia. And when you have your business, your revenue is counted towards their GDP. So they created this digital network that represents the future, and the rest of the countries are looking at that as a model that they're trying to replicate. The reason I study these things is because I'm trying to think about, okay, what is the way that we do it to get our own sovereignty? To me, the answer is creating a digital network. How many of you all utilize Discord? Discord is essentially having your own city or your own state, right? Now imagine you have your own city, you have your own state, you all have your own code that you live by. Everybody is voting, deciding to say, yo, we want to buy physical assets somewhere, and we want to set up our own cities. Secondary cities is what we call them. So I've been planning with some people behind the scenes, and we've been talking about this idea of secondary cities. If you go look at in the average city, Black American city, where there's a large population of Black people, it's not enough for them to be able to afford a house, right? So then what is the dream? What is the American dream if you can't afford it? So the goal would be then, okay, well, how do we create what they call transformational homes? Anybody heard of that? Transformational homes are homes that you can build on top of the land, right? You can end up making like 20 of them a day. So imagine we had a first 100 days plan. We wanted to build these secondary cities to where we say they trying to figure out how we create our own world, and then we aggregate all that money into like a DAO system. Anybody know what a DAO is? We learning today. What's a DAO? Can you say it a little louder with your chest? A little louder, bro, with the chest.
Wealthfront offers a cash account that has one of the highest interest rates on the market.
If I send... Okay, we learning something. So this essentially is a system that's not owned by one person, right? That means if we started, we all own it. But our voting power is distributed based on how much money we put into it. So let's say, okay, we raise $100 million. And we say, what do we want to do with that? Maybe we want to start a media company to control narrative, right? Maybe we want to build secondary cities outside of, maybe in New Jersey somewhere. I don't know what the New Yorkers feel about that. That's why you get the vote, right? We vote when that treasury goes to there. Nobody can control the money but the vote. So that means nobody can steal, right? What is the number one problem that we have with each other? Trust. So we'd be like, let's unify, but we don't trust these niggas. You know what I'm saying? Unify, you talking about with him? He did my bro wrong. So, okay, let's create a trustless system then. You ain't gotta trust me. Trust the technology works. What is Bitcoin? It's a blockchain. Most people look at the price of Bitcoin. The value of Bitcoin is not the price. It's what it does. It's a technology. It has been unhackable thus far in its system, which is a dream of revolution. Saying that you mean that we can go outside of their systems, build our own DeFi, finance, create your own bank. Isn't that something we've been complaining about? We've been complaining about social media apps. How many people heard a person in here can have their own server? It's decentralized, and people can jump into your world on your social media application, right? That means that we can have decentralized apps. How many solutions we getting so far? It's a lot. My thing is, I want you all to understand, why don't we know anything about this? How is it that we got all this Black media, all these Black podcasts, all this so-called Black conversation, but no solutions? That means it's all low-level conversation. That also means to me that it's controlled low-level conversations, because they know these things exist, but they don't want to give you real tools and real solutions, so you see progress as ownership instead of symbolism. How did they do this? Any Pan-Africans in the building? None of that. Y'all done with that, huh? Trying to see. I had a video about this, and I was doing some studying. And the video title was Pan-Africanism is a PSYOP. Now that almost caused some controversy until people actually watched the video. And I was given a breakdown of how in the 60s, the CIA was funding groups to have these Pan-African conversations. Now, why do you think they was doing that? Anybody? It is because they wanted you to see the cultural symbolism, the feeling of being an African as more important than actual ownership. So what did the Nation of Islam have? Who was the greatest economic blueprint builder? Elijah Muhammad. But when we talk about history, we talk about what? Black Wall Street. Oh, 100 years ago, he had an economic blueprint. He had an aviation trust school. He had banks. He had supermarkets. He had a temple almost in every city, a school almost in every city, right? They had restaurants, right? They created jobs and businesses. But how come we not taught this? That means there's a version of history in every one of you all head. A version of history. But whose? His story, not our true story. Our true story, he'd be like, wait a minute, that was an economic blueprint. He gave an economic model of how each person at the time can get 5 cents. We're gonna need a little more than that, right? If you adjust it for how much they was making during that time, it was a brother doing the meeting they called Savers Day, and he said, they act like we just doing pennies over here. He said, our estimated revenue this year is 50 million. Adjusted in today's time, that's 500 million. So that means that we have an economic blueprint to follow. Then if you adjust that by adding decentralized tools like blockchain on top of it, we can supercharge and get something done in 100 days. And any problems that was happening during that time with people that they couldn't trust, we ain't got that problem no more because we have a trustless system utilizing this technology. So they said, we don't want black people to take up this mindset that progress represents ownership, right? That progress represents us creating our own businesses and equity instead of rights. Right? We wanted y'all to just focus on equality and the gestures of it. So they would fund these conversations with some of the scholars in Africa and academia, and also they wanted them to paint America in a nice light at the same time. So instead, no, just wear the Kunta Kinte cloth. Just feel like you winning, right? Just get you a new bill passed. Instead of saying that, no, we own the bus systems, that's progress, right? We own building, that's progress. I'm my own landlord, that's progress. I go to my own grocery store, that's progress. Counting black progress is what white folks allow us to have instead of we'll have our own. The narrative, not only did they do that one time, how many of you all are deeply familiar with the Seminoles? What if I told you that they had a 41-year war that ended 4 years right before the Civil War in America? Then you ask yourself, well, why were we taught about this in a certain way? What if I told you that the Underground Railroad, they had several skirmishes and battles where they was killing for their freedom, not just running away? It was pure guerrilla warfare and tactics. Then you got to, well, why they only tell us like they were just running and had this little network? Why did they teach history in that way? Because they wanted you to become pacifist. They didn't want to make it seem like y'all wasn't scared. Y'all wasn't afraid. Every year, throughout this term of slavery, so-calledly, there was a fight, there was battle, there was an insurrection, there was a war. America spent billions of dollars in today's adjusted time fighting the black Seminoles in Florida. Matter of fact, it's part of the reason they had that Civil War, because they saying, why are you spending all this money trying to re-enslave these Negroes when we actually need that to build up America? So white supremacy wasn't profitable and it became too costly. So they ran and they schemed. Why you think the black Americans was so good when they got in war? You think they just went straight from chains to warriors? They was already fighting. We was the first blood that was shed in this country for this country on the battlefield. They had guerrilla warfare tactics. They was taking over ships. And I'm talking about during a harsh time of war. To survive a few battles in war, boy, you had to be lucky or cold. And they was both. They had the spirit of the ancestors on their side. They knew the layouts of the land. So when they was fighting in some of these mucky places, they knew how to handle themselves. Now I think about that psychologically. When you ask me where I'm from, I'm gonna hit you with the Oakland, but I'm gonna pop it a little bit though. You feel me? I'm from Oakland. You feel me? I wanna make sure you feel me, because when I say I'm from Oakland, I'm saying it with a sense of pride, right? When you speak from a sense of pride, you feel like a winner. In the mind, unless you feel like a winner, you can't win, right? If you feel like a loser, you start losing more, because that's the frequency you on, right? If you feel like the victim, you get victimized more. So I can't have y'all walking around like y'all winners. I can't have you feeling like you a hero. I can't have that to be the sense of pride. I need the story that you need to go all the way to Africa to feel pride about yourself. I need the story that you need an ancestral download from a DNA center to feel like you somebody, right? I don't need the story in your mind that y'all was fighting wars and insurrections and y'all was tribal and y'all was inventing and innovative this whole entire period, and scientists, and y'all had scholars before we was free. I don't need that to be the story. I need y'all to feel like you ain't shit. Every single day when you walk outside and you starting from nothing. I don't need you to feel like you had ancestors that had plans and they executed those plans successfully.
Roku Ads Manager puts Roku's reach within your reach. Sign up at ads.roku.com.
Some moments are better with people.
Diagnosis, anxiety. Begin deep breathing.
Therapy.
I need you to feel like Martin Luther King was just some dreaming ass nigga thinking about his kids going to school with white folks. I don't need you to think about him being an awakened man saying, wait a minute, we need to boycott Coca-Cola. We need our own economic base because we're burning by the time we in it. And don't we smell the smoke? It's burning, it's hot. And we fighting to stay in it. I'm not saying leave America. I'm saying build your own America. We built their America. We have yet to build ours. So the stories that we tell ourselves are the most important. It's how we go about seeing ourselves. Oakland, I had the story of the Panthers. Radical, resilience, revolutionary. I didn't have the civil rights story. So I never thought about those as my heroes. I thought about men who did something about the connecting and organizing everything right alongside. I grew up in a paradigm where I seen black men with money, power, knowledge, right? And if you mess with them, they will kill you. That's how I grew up. I never had this picture of weakness in my life about who we are. Then social media came. And I realized everybody don't think the same. Some of these niggas lost, B. I'm like, God damn, so y'all don't feel like how I feel? And then I started studying. I said, oh, because if I was to take a child today and I indoctrinate them with African-American studies, what type of mind do I make? The same mind that's out there complaining today. If I teach him his story in my way, a way that empowers and invigorates his spirit, he gonna believe he can do anything in the world. But if I teach him that he is a slave, keep your head down, tuck your tail, right? And be careful when you go out there in the world, because they might shoot you and knock you down. Be careful dreaming too big, because Black Wall Street was shot down. But I ain't gonna tell you nothing about Elijah Muhammad creating an economic blueprint. And now you should ask the question, well, why did his fail? Well, it didn't. Not in that sense. The idea was successful. His son didn't want to continue it. So then that tells you something about family and the importance of generational wealth. His son dismantled it. So when you're building something, you have to create sustainable systems, creating trust and things of that nature, because a family is how you project yourself into the future. You have a son, I teach him rites of passage, making him into a man, telling him who I am, what my plans are, where he comes from, what his last name means. Now, That's 50 to 75 years in the future, depending on how long he lived. He has 100 years into the future. Just by one seed, 1,000 years. Who's done that? They showed us a model. Go look at the last names of the product. Go look at how men built America. These are family institutions because it is the best way to take an idea and control time, over time. So we've been focused on localism, right? Local activities. What's going on in the hood? What's going on in the streets? That information cycle is stuck in your head. Then we start focusing on nationalism. Let's create our own nation within a nation. Some people are prideful of being patriots and things of that nature. My Moorish brothers know about nationalism. Then we got social media and we started thinking about globalism. What's happening in Palestine? I feel for those people. What's happening in the Congo? I feel for those people. Man, I would rather use TikTok than Instagram because they got a better product. That's globalism, right? But what did our ancestors do? Our ancestors had cosmism. Their connection was to the cosmos. They planned based on astronomy, not astrology. So it's fine that you know your astrology sign, Virgos, Tauruses, Scorpios. But do you know which solar cycle we are in? What solar cycle we in? We in cycle 25. Y'all remember the song, Age of Aquarius. See, coach it gets you, make you feel like you're doing something. We in solar cycle 25. That means that every 11 years, they measure the sun's activity, right? Based on the sun emitting solar flares to Earth. During cycle 24, at the point in time where they have what they call a solar maximum. That means that there's more solar energy coming to the Earth, right? So that means during this time, there's more energy, during heightened times of energy. One of the worst electromagnetic storms in history happened on the very day that Black Wall Street fell. The exact same day. If you study history, they blocked out radio frequencies and a multitude of other different things. But scientists have done studies and show that it actually affects human activity. Based on skin conductance, get your heartbeat rolling. And when I was doing my study, I showed that there's conflicts that always happen during those times of solar maximum. So I said 2005 is about to be a wild year, no matter who wins. Because based on the solar cycle, I can predict that this is going to be a hot year, right? We're going to be hot-headed. There's going to be people going against each other because in a time of chaos where you don't know where to put your energy and you connected to the news cycle instead of the cosmic cycle, they got you controlled. If a woman don't know her cycle, she can't plan her cycle. We use the sun only. We're not 13 moons in like the Ethiopian. Right? We got to go to work. So they work the best way to be working and thinking. Their goal was how to trust. So you never align. So you never. So you never on your God body. And because you got some of this melanin conductance, it's actually harder for you. You need more of the sun, right? It affects you a little different. And they did studies to figure out how it affected them, not how it affected you. During those times, it was also times of technology. And he put out his own shoe. And it's amazing. I have the shoe. Everywhere I go, somebody is asking me about it. And I had to tell them, I say, if you do the thing that we say everybody should do, then everybody should praise that so that the next generation is saying, I want to do the same. Otherwise, then we're the hypocrites when we try to call somebody else out. But then we don't get praise so that the younger generation is looking like, man, he got to look for being smart, creating. Otherwise, I would have had him on. So get that wrong. But today, conversation about what he's doing with his brand, what it means to be resilient, right, in Black Wall Street, because I believe that the time right now is about all resilience, right? In the age of distraction, where you're focused and operating, you're trying to say, how do I stay in flow mode? And every single day there's something. So I would love to know your idea of what is a winning mindset. How does one stay and develop a resilient mind during this age?
I think you said it, you said the key word, and I think I give credit to it. I think it kind of, in a sense, saved my life because, you know, in reality, I'm a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Shit, me too.
So when people be playing with you or playing with your intelligence or trying to diminish your greatness or attack your character, like the first thoughts that come to mind is crazy ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But stoicism, being able to control my emotions, has, in a sense, allowed me to stay the course. Because, you know, no matter if I'm, you know, up or down, you know, no matter how I'm feeling, I've adopted this mentality. I got a job I got to do. It's a mission that we on. I got a family to feed. I got a community to uplift. So I keep that in mind. Personally, I might feel tired. Personally, I might feel emotional, but it's not about you. And I think stoicism kind of helps you adopt that mentality and that approach. So like, you can take those steps and those initiatives forward. Because in reality, you know, dealing with the media, dealing with, you know, like corporate America, dealing with, you know, all these things that, you know, people of culture gotta, you know, deal with in order to feed their family. It's tough. It's tough. It's a running joke in my organization and in Boston that people be like, yo, Jaylen never smile.
On your Frederick Douglass.
They call me Sunshine. It's like, here comes Sunshine. It's because I can't be that way in this space when I know like y'all don't operate on the same principles that I operate on. It's not honor, it's not nobility. They hide being mischievous through business. And that's the norm for them. But like I was raised, like if I'm gonna walk through a door, I'm gonna walk through the front door. I'm not trying to come through the side and all that, the angles, and I'm coming through the back, trying to climb through the window. Like if I got something I gotta say, like that's how I think business should be done. Like I think business should be fair. I don't want nobody leaving from this experience feeling that they got hustled or some taken advantage of. I think, you know, how to operate on that principle is like how I was raised. That's not how corporate America works. That's not how America works. You know, it's a lack of nobility. It's a lack of honor. So to have to walk in and like, I don't know what's going on, nothing to smile about.
That's real. That's real. Make some noise for that. You know, resilience is an object's ability to get back to its natural state after it's been taken away, right? When I look at us as a people, we're very resilient because there's many a times that we've been taken out of our nature, taken out of our state, and then we get right back into place, right? Melanin is resilient in the sense that it absorbs harsh radiation and then converts that into energy. And when I think about us as a people, we're very resilient in the same way biologically, we have that exact mentality psychologically, right? Because no matter what happens to us, we get back to it. And we're better than ever. So you decided to say, what was it, 50 million? Nike tried to pay you something?
Yeah, that was an accumulation.
It was accumulation of deals. How many of y'all took that deal? I turned down at McDonald's. They ain't even tell me how much it was worth. I don't even want to know. Don't tempt me. He turned down a Nike deal. Not only that, he created a brand and you had a tagline in there that said, I didn't see the brand of the future, so I created the brand of the future. And when I look at your brand, everywhere I go, when I wear the shoes, people are asking me, yo, where's that from? Right? Where did you get those? And it's dope because it does look like a product of the future. I want to know your ideas behind that psychology of creating something that's futuristic.
We talked about this in the back, and it's super relevant now. So as we talk about, Black history, or what we taught as Black history, it's important to also like futurism and what we want to see and bring and manifest into the future. So the industry needed change. I'm the vice president of the union, so they voted me to represent all of our players from the basketball side. So I speak. Thank you. And I've been doing that since I was about 22. I'm 28 now, so about 6 years. So I've been on a lot of Zoom calls.
Yes, sir.
But in the midst of that, you learn the intricacies of a business. You learn, how things operate. You learn, how to build the brand. You learn how, the ins and outs of ultimately a billion-dollar industry. A lot of our players have complaints. A lot of our superstar players have had complaints throughout time. They've been mistreated. Like once they finish their deal or their contract, that they can't put out things as quickly as they need. Like they can't get them to their community or get them even to their family members. Like they don't own their IPs, so they have no say-so. They're forced to renegotiate deals, post being a superstar and generating this amount of revenue for a brand. And now they forced them to take this lesser deal now that they're no longer playing. And like, now it's just knocking them off. I'm like, I generated this amount of money for your company, and now you're just doing me like this. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of players that have this story, but they don't want to share it out loud because of the embarrassment they feel. Mm-hmm. But I'm like niggas need to hear this. Yeah. Because if I hear that story, that make me like weary of even signing up with you. They dangle the glamour of trying to make you a star. Like this is the package. They show you like, we'll put all the industry behind you to make you a star. From this brand to...
If you have ever wanted to land a 100 to 150K a year fully remote career in as little as the next 4 months.
From this brand to this brand to this brand, they're all friends. And they go after who they feel like they can make the absolute most money off of. And they only offer these people you've seen on all the commercials, the people you're seeing with these big deals, and you think they're using a machine to force them to be like an undeniable star. Their talent is already there, but now they're being globalized. Now they're being pushed. And all these brands, they are just monetizing off of them. The deals that they actually getting is not lucrative. Like Jordan was one-on-one. Nobody surpassed Jordan since. Not LeBron. And we in a whole different era. That was that was over 40 years ago. Damn. So they dangling, this stardom, and they push you and they offer you these deals and you getting a few $1 million, but they generating so much more off of you. Right. All these brands are generating so much more off of you, and they want to keep it like that. They want you to feel like we're gonna make you a star. And then once you get awake, or once you finally figure it out, maybe at the end of your career, maybe some I can name and figured out midway through their career and start to speak about it, they take all of that back. They snatch it back from them. They assassinate your character, or all these other type of things, or they kind of like run your career off. They've done that to some New York legends where they make your career seem like it wasn't as impactful as it was, all because you stood on a different side of what the yellow brick road that they laid out. So I think explaining that, I say that just to say, like, people gonna make their decisions and do what they're gonna do regardless. You could tell people, this is the worst thing in the world, and people gonna sign up for it anyway. But somebody's gonna listen, and somebody's a parent of our next generation of talent, of influencers, of entertainers, of athletes, handling their journey a different way, and that's what I do it for.
Make some noise, for sure, for sure.
The reason why the design for my product, and I design pretty much everything myself. And the reason why I always wanted it to be like the symbolism, I wanted you to see like this futuristic, you know, kind of vibe, because I wanted you to think about like what's next, the next generation. So when I'm, you know, talking about the future of performance, I'm also talking about how the future athletes need to look and how we need to understand our value. How we need to recognize what's being dangled in front of us and why, and being able to make decisions, because I think nobody's been able to like break it down to the sense, but like, you know, as seeing those deals come across my table and I passed on them.
Yeah.
Like, because I was able to recognize, okay, they're trying to make me a part of their machine. And that's fine and all, but I don't want to be.
Right. I feel you on that. I think when I listen to you, number one, it's a very high level of things that you're dealing with, and you're simplifying them just based on your values, right? This is what you want to give me, but I don't want it because I'm a man of values, right? A lot of people don't know what their values are until they test it, right? Most people can't name their top 5 core values, right? They don't know what they really stand for. So in those moments, if you don't know your value, then somebody else will tell you what your value is, right? And if you don't know your values, right, then you don't know when you're selling your soul. So your values keep you aligned with who you are, so you don't feel shameful when you go home for making a decision that goes against your values. So what I hear you think that I need significance through this deal, but I already know myself. And most of our culture is built off this aspirational obtaining of something to try to feed our ego, to make us feel more than what we are. Because if we grow up in a home to where we didn't get enough love and significance, then we look for that in accomplishments. We look for that in validation. We look for that in deals. We look for that in awards. We look for that in rewards. But when you know yourself, none of those things move, right? And so when I'm listening to somebody whose psychology is aligned the right way. And most people, they have so many people around them that's telling you, no, take this. What's wrong with you? In a minute, I would have took that. Not me, I'm saying, they saying that. I would have turned Nike down too. I'm saying that from this position.
That's very true. It's a whole industry around our athletes that's like built to just take advantage of. You know, from the agency model. You know, it's obvious, but it's so normalized that it's not presented as that. But like you said, a lot of times our athletes don't know that they're selling their soul in a sense, and that kind of is an abrasive kind of like way to say that, like selling your soul. Like, but like the deals and things that they offer, a lot of them comes with you quieting your voice.
Right.
Like a lot of when you sign to these brands, that's one of the first things. Like if you say certain things, like we can terminate this deal at any given point. So like if I can't use my voice, then why the hell am I? What are we doing here?
Right.
You know, but that's like, you know, to take any of these deals, you can't do anything controversial. That's the number one standard thing.
And they decide what's controversial.
And they decide, and exactly, they decide what is controversial and what's not. It's not even like, it's like a feel for them.
Right.
Based upon what they feel from the company's ethics or whatever. You know what I mean? You could say whatever, and they could just basically say that this is a little bit too controversial, and we let you go.
Right.
So
which
they
is
want
a method of control.
So it's encouraged amongst our top athletes in order to acquire these endorsements to do nothing. You can't say anything. Be least controversial as possible. And we know that. This is not like this inside information. Maybe I'm just breaking it down from my view. But like, yeah, you can't say anything or you lose everything. You know what I mean? Now you take those are opportunities to start things, to fund things, to take care of your family, etc. So people look at it as like, I need to take these deals. So I can understand that to that degree as well. I'm not trying to, you know, to like, you know, talk down on our brothers that had to do what they had to do. But I'm just making it aware to the people like what's going on. Because some of our athletes, it's such a normalization that they don't even your agency. You know what I mean? Like somebody is giving you letting somebody authorize your power. You know what I mean? And that has a deeper connotation than just like somebody's representing you.
Right.
Like somebody, you giving your agency away.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a lot of our star athletes and players and influence, they don't even know that this is what a form of it looks like. You giving your voice, or you compromising your voice for, these dollars. If you said it to them like that, cut and drop, maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't.
I think when you really peel back the layers and you look at it like that, and you see, first of all, you realize how much you are IP, right? What they realize is that any company is, especially companies that utilize athletes, celebrities, influencers, they're only as valuable as who's attached to it. The influence no more get drowned out. So you don't realize that you're making their stock worth billions of dollars when you sign. And they may give you a few $1 million while they're making billions off your IP. What made him become worth billions of dollars today is that he controls his supply chain. Not only that, he controls access to his consumer. So when he tells, hold on now, wait a minute, he be wilding a little bit too. So when he tells Adidas, stop reverting my traffic away from Yeezy.com, he does that, and when he does the Super Bowl commercial, he does that so he can capture all the data, right, of his fan base and his core audience. Value of infrastructure is worth billions because you can sell them product anytime you want to. You don't have to go through a middleman to get to, right, your core base. So now with the influence and the infrastructure, that is worth billions of dollars. And that is basically you realizing your value if you sign for somebody else and say, damn, how is this deal evaluated at billions? But if I don't have the deal, then I'm not worth billions. But isn't it me that's bringing billions to this deal? And he realized that, and then he started to control that mechanism that was controlling him. And so this is where the new athlete mind, this is the futurist blueprint, where the new athlete realized that I would rather be decentralized. I would rather control. I now have media, I have infrastructure, I can control supply chain, I can control influence, right? And I can go direct to consumer. So I become the new institution. That's Jaylen Brown.
IRS e-file is now open. Snap your W-2 and file your taxes 100% free. Plus, get your biggest
Now, I want to talk about this economic piece real quick, because you got one of the biggest, not the pocket watch, the biggest deals in NBA history, and you did something unprecedented after that. You create Black Wall Street again, which is something that most people would never do, right? Let's be honest. Hold on now. I might not like what I say next. Most people, they'll get them a house, get them a white girl, you know what I'm saying? And they go off into the sunset. This is the normal blueprint. Brett say, no, I'm about to go now to Black Wall Street. So what made you take what I think should be the normal route? I'm not even gonna say the radical route, because a lot of times they like to put these things as radical.
I like how you
To
said
me,
that.
it's normal.
Yeah.
Right? And we have to expand the space to be like, that's not radical. Building wealth is not radical, it's normal.
And the energy in which we speak to certain things is like, it gotta be normal too. Like it is normal and it should be normal. Like I refuse to like adopt the idea that me being an athlete, I'm just here to entertain people. You know, and they want us to, that's it. They want our athletes, our musicians, our entertainers, our people of influence to think that we just here for entertainment purposes. And I'm gonna forever disagree with that. Like, some of these young people that's coming up now got God-given abilities that you can't even hide. They running and jumping over cars. They rapping at the speed of light. They using their words and their imagination to think things that we wasn't even possible to think. And this is not meant for entertainment. This is meant for influence. It's a difference. Like, so I think this is the norm, you know? So like when they talk about like why I went up there and said what I said or did what I did or why I'm gonna allocate my funds to this, because being a part of a community and seeing some of the problems and seeing some of the things that people of color, Black people have suffered and through institutionalized racism, through hegemony, through, you know, systematic things that have trickled over time that led to like where things are today, that people like to just pretend like never happened or existed. You know, I think it should be normal for somebody to influence their platform to stand up for their community, their family, to represent their culture, and shouldn't be afraid of that. The people around you or the people around me is like, nah, man, just focus on basketball, just focus on you. And then the people that be trying to take advantage of you.
Come on, make some stuff for that. Let me reshake y'all energy as well. I see some of y'all. I want to make sure we keeping the energy high on this. When we say it's like a new playbook, this is the new normal. It's what when people don't you down with this, the new normal. Y'all have y'all favorite basketball players that Jaylen keep on beating. Talk to them about this. You know what I mean? Go to the game and yell Black Wall Street. Let's make this normalized. We have to stop making these things like they should be whispered about when our communities are suffering.
But the people that's representing us is like a part of it, the agency model.
100%.
Because they, and this is my goal, this is my thing. Like, and I'm a union guy because I want to see this. My desk is that a large amount of our players, around over 50%, within the first team, the majority of broke. Within the first team, so the fighters, the agents, and stuff like that, the people that are representing them ain't representing them well. It's not working. How are you, you know, you play for 5 to 7 to 10 years and you made X amount of millions of dollars and you ended up giving it right back. We also should be aware of, because if you can't help me keep my wealth, if you can teach me how to handle my business, or when I'm 18 years old, then you shouldn't have been representing me in the first place. I'm a firm believer in that. You know, I've been saying that since I came in. I'm one of the youngest players to ever enter the draft without an agent. I came in without an agent. I negotiated. I've negotiated just about every contract that I've ever had for the most part. But even coming out the gate, like, you know, I took a lot of flack for that, where, you know, obviously, you know, speaking to these things and disrupting a $1 billion agency model is going, you know, you're going to catch some flack. You know, people going to use their resources to make sure that things don't work out well for Joe. We don't have to worry about other athletes doing and thinking the same thing. You know, but I'm thinking of it like this. Like, I worked this hard to get to this position, and there was no agent there at that point. And I used my talent, and now you are, you know, able for this deal, and now I got to give you 4% that's untaxed.
4% is millions.
And the people I work with are great, so I want to give a shout out, because I think differently than, you know, what the norm is.
Yes, sir.
So sometimes when you're trying to have people that are not used to seeing these models, and I'm trying to force them, like, nah, this is how we doing it now, they lose patience. So
yes, sir.
I want to give a shout out to my team and the people before I say what I'm about to say.
Yes, sir.
But my last deal was for $300 million of, you know,
It means the world that I'm able to continue building the life for the kids that Jared and I both envisioned.
of $300 million. So that's $12 million that I would have to give to an agent, and that's untaxed.
You know what's crazy though? I just started to
So
be
it's
an
not like
agent.
I've
been going to school for it. I only charge 2%.
And like, what's crazy about it, like, it's so normal. Like, I'm like, nobody even give no pushback for it. I'm like, yo, you give me $12 million?
Right.
Like, I mean, I'll kill anything before I get $12 million.
And everybody else talking about, no, we did it too. You did.
Just, yeah, it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the type of conversations like I like to have with the next generation, just so they can think about it and process it. Not saying that all agents are wrong and bad, but the whole agency model needs to be improved. I look at that as like, we need some solutions for that, because our players are still going broke. Our players are losing majority of their wealth. Our players are not turning their wealth and building on it and building empires in their community. So it's like the people that are representing them is not working, and they can get mad as they want to get mad, but it's not. I'm looking at all of our players who are struggling from these things, and they don't care because they just get the rights to get the next player. Why we keep giving them the rights to get the next players if we're not seeing them benefit and they seeing how they did the last ones? But we only see, and they come to us and they dangle these things in front of our most talented. This is where we go. This is where they go to. We get sent to the same top organizations that acquire so much influence off the backs of us, of our influence. Now they have their own brands, now that they can go and do their own things and make their own investments off the influence of representing a bunch of us. But where's us left after that?
Right.
Like, a lot of our athletes is not doing as well as they should be, and they blame it us. We was 18 when we came into. We was 17 when you came and put this contract in front of us. He was 18 years old. I'm to blame.
Right.
You know what I mean? I do feel like we do need to continue to have those, financial literacy conversations amongst family. But I also believe if you can't help me grow, build in my community, help me take care of my family, help me build a plan for longevity for my career, you shouldn't be representing me. Actually nowhere near me. You shouldn't be welcome in my house.
Jaylen, speaking of financial literacy conversations, I see my brother some EYL in the back. Y'all make some noise for my brother some EYL. So they got the book, You Deserve to Be Rich. How many of y'all got the book? Okay. How come the rest of y'all ain't get it? No. So, for those who don't have it, we'll be giving away a few free copies later on. So, I have one question for you all. What school did Jaylen Brown go to? Who said that? Who said that? Stand up. All right, my brother, you get a free book.
Come all the way down the
We ain't got the book up here. I just wanted to see you. Yeah, so I appreciate you. We're going to get you the book later, though. Now, I love your enthusiasm. No. We got you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
You gonna make him come all the way down?
He got the spotlight, though. No, he going to come back later, though. We're going to take a picture of the whole night.
That's another thing, exercise.
Yeah. No, it's activity. Speaking of, right, you be meditating like I do. I seen a picture you was floating one time. And it's a very important thing, right? I meditate. And what I learned, I've been writing the book, the High Level Conversations Only book. And what I realized, one of my methods as a speaker is always envisioning myself speak first. Like, I run it through my head a lot, perfecting it in my head. And I'm projecting myself consistently. And as I was studying the neuroscience, it actually aligns your brain, right? So I want to know, number one, why do you meditate, right? Why do you find that that's something important to show people this is what you do?
It's a form of finding self in the middle of like all of this, what people call like the matrix or the distractions or just all the stuff going on. It's like a way to center yourself, like to get those inner clarities, those realizations, those actualizations, because there'd be so much going on. And you ever been like, You ever thought about a situation at one point and then with so much going on and like 2 weeks go by and then you get like a clarity and be like, you know what? That situation was a lot different than it was then. But it had already had passed, but you just got the clarity on it. It usually happens when it's like a person. Like somebody like was playing with you or they said something and you play it back.
He crazy for real, huh?
You play it back.
He thinking about Stephen A. Smith.
You play it back like 2 weeks later and then you get a whole different clarity from it. That comes from like within. That comes from like you just being able to just separate from like, whatever you was distracted from at that time. So meditation is just a form of like just calming everything down. And people make it seem more complex than it actually is. Meditation is just spending time with you. That is it. And it's become such a hot trending topic in this era where, people have, monetized it and sensationalized it, but it's always been locking in with you. Like it could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, it could be 15, it could be an hour. But it really is just taking that time to just quiet everything down, like just relax, let the tension flow from your shoulders, like everything just like relax and then just be still and then let the things just flow in your brain. Like you'll start to just think about your day or think about like what you want to do or what you want to manifest. And you'll be surprised, like when you just calm everything down and just get still, like you'll start to hear God's voice. You know what I mean? And that's clarity. That's God speaking to you, is clarity. When you get still, like when we like to use the word motion, because I heard you say I heard you say the word motion a couple of times. Sometimes you gotta sit down. You know what I mean? Sometimes just be still for a minute. Everybody wanna have motion nowadays, like, and it's motion this and motion that, and they trying to get the motion from you.
Right.
Sometimes they need to just sit their ass down. You know what I mean?
Most people ain't got motion, they got commotion.
Sometimes you just gotta sit down and be still, and then you'll be surprised at what come to you.
Right. I 100% believe that. I believe in stillness speaks. I believe when I want to get out the world and go into myself, I like to sit alone in silence and in darkness. And in those moments, you balance the waters within, right? So if you would imagine a beachfront, if your mind is chaotic, then the waves would be very high. They'll be washing up, right? Because that represents your mind itself. So I know when my mind is clear, it's because when I close my mind, I can see those waters very still and very calm within. And so it also is finding low
Create your success story online with CUNY SPS.
And so it also is finding low dopamine things to do so that you're not constantly seeking these high dopamine hits, right? Through social media. Instead, I would rather get my dopamine from actual execution, right, in goals. So what we end up doing is, in lieu of actually executing something in real life, right, we're going to social media looking for a like to feel good. But this is not good. Anybody seen that video I did on Monk Mode, right? So y'all ain't subscribed to the content. What I'm hearing. But the idea was that you go out of society for 60 days, right? You cut off friends, family, right? And you go deep within. You start studying, you start reading, you start meditating. You cut off certain food habits, you start fasting, right? You do a complete digital detox. You go into nature more, you ground. So you can actually know your true self because we know our reactive selves, right? Our lower selves, not the ones that's activated from our higher reasoning, right? That neocortex, to where we have real thoughts. The reason why, one of the things I try to do a lot, I say, in a conversation, how can I get somebody to say, I never heard that before? And you can only do that if you're not saying things that's in the algorithm. You have to know what you actually think, which means you have to pull away from it. Think about it. Now you're contributing to it. You're creating. The other time you're just consuming, and what you consume controls you. So if it's negative, it controls you. The brain is looking to survive, so we look at negative things and we blow them up because we need to keep our eyes on threats. So negativity is magnified even though the presence is really small. So it was loud though. I still want to see bro in real life. That's just your brain in survival mode. So you have to realize that you have to be in that evolution mode, right? You have to know you're creating those responses. You're activating the low level. They are forced based on their program to respond to you a certain way. Do not react to the response because then you're controlled by what you put out.
Damn.
So we have to be higher level beings. And that's when we're constantly looking back like, damn, am I activating my neo, my cortex, or am I controlled by the matrix? My limbic response, my nervous system, right? Am I in survival mode or am I in evolution? Y'all know that survival mode, we hear that all the time, man. I'm just making it through. Man, I'm getting through the day, maintaining, man. Same, or just surviving. That's our language has to be evolution, right? We're focused on flow. We're focused on regenerative practices, right? So we can be more efficient with our time and our energy every single day, right? How many people believe they deserve to be rich? First of all, I want to gift my brother one of these books.
Yes, sir.
And I want us to take some time real quick. This is what I want us to do. We talked about the future. And the idea of the future is it doesn't exist yet, right? We're in competition for what the future will be. There's a blank slate. But based on the ideas that you have in your head, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Mm-hmm. So if I ask you about AI, you say, man, the future terminated. Who told you that story? Right? If I say, what's the future of America? You say, man, Elon and them. You know what I'm saying? Who told you that story? They've been feeding you because you're in their feed in their world that they control, that algorithm. So it controls what you think, so you produce their future. They use your mind to nurture their ideas as a womb to produce and give birth to ideas. So if you know your mind is that powerful, then that means that we need to have times. I do this a lot as a futurist. I think about the future I want, and then I prepare for the future that they're trying to create as well. So when things happen, I'm not reacting. I know how to respond already at your shock. So what we're about to do is we're going to take some time and we want to align thinking about a cosmic future. A future that we control, that we own, right? A future where our children are safe. A future where the cars and the design, it's what they call a biophilic design, incongruent with nature. We have neural architecture that makes us aspire and think bigger because the world has been turned into these digital boxes that doesn't make you want to become more. They strip the world from you wanting to become more by stripping it out of the architecture so you don't look around and get inspired. Think of the greatest utopian idea of the future that you want to create, that you want to see. And we're going to take some time to breathe in. And we hit a Now relaxes our nervous system. And in that state of relaxation, that's when we're really thinking and getting creative. Immerse yourself in this moment. Get detailed. Put color to your ideas. Live there. Will it into existence. Deep breath. Now I want you to imagine your future self and everything they have. The way they think, the way that they feel, the way that they move. How they dress, how they smell, how other people respond to them. The amount of money they have in their bank account. The values that they respond to. Down to the outfits that they wear. The respect that they garner from all across the planet Earth. And I want you to align with that version of yourself when you open your eyes. I want you to stick to their habits, stick to their plans, and most importantly, I want you to stick to the frequency in which they live. Higher version of yourself, you have just expanded who you are. Now it's time for you to fill the void. Open your eyes. Just feel what it's like to be calm for a moment, to sit still, to be in complete control of everything. You move throughout the world, you control everything. Nothing controls you. Not the losses, not the failures, not the ups, not the downs. There's no anxiety. There's no depression. There's no victims. It's just me in control of reality. This is the mindset of a winner. They only imagine themselves winning, so therefore they only win. Let's control the future, y'all. Make some noise. Everybody give a round of applause for my brother Jaylen Brown. Round of applause for yourselves. Shout out to my good sister in the building. Yo, we got a lot of superstars in the building just within this crowd. You have to look around. I definitely want y'all to network. I got my sister Erica Ford over there, my brother AJ McQueen in the background somewhere. My brother Lloyd Strayhorn. We got Dr. Sebi daughter right here. I know y'all watched the episode. And I'm sure there's many more people. And like I was saying, this was about who shows up. In this time in the world, there's only going to be a very small select few that are chosen. So when you can curate an opportunity and the chosen ones get together, you might not have known this the person you need to partner with, because in our minds, sometimes we have an idea of who we want to work with. And if it's not that brother, sister, friend, or this person that we choose, we become disappointed, not knowing the person right next to you is aligned with the same exact goals and values. They're in the same space as you for the same reasons. These are the people that you need to work with in this whole entire New York area. These may be your future business partners. Might find your future wifey in here. It's all high-level men if they coming out here. Ladies, if they smell good, they got a crown on, get busy. We need more black families. Not tonight, though. Y'all got to get married. But again, I want to thank my brother Jaylen Brown. We're going to get into a Q&A, but my brother is the MVP, and he decided to not only do that, he wanted to be the MVP of his people and by working to build him, but for the inspiration that he's going to create. Thank you. And the effect that it's going to have for future generations as we move forward on this continued path, as we fight for our future. It's not going to be easy at all. I promise you that. But everything about my brother here and myself is about us taking the uneasy route to get to a place that's worth it. Every single day we will go on social media and something goes try to steal your attention. I need you to take it back. Because your attention is your power. And when they have that, they have you, and you've consented to belong to them. So we're gonna have presentations about what we're doing as a community. I don't wanna just do a tour and rile people up. Everything that I'm talking about, we have ideas, blueprints, plans, decks. I don't even wanna share everything in front of the public. I only want people who's serious, right? Because that's the only way that it works. I don't need the whole world, but we need the right people that wanna build our world. Y'all ready for that? Are we low level or high level? Are we low level or high level? Let's act like it. Give a round of applause for my brother, man. Thank you. High level.